सजाता चल, मिल जाएंगे राम। राम नाम का अलख जगाता चल, मिल जाएंगे राम। राम धुन गाता चल, राम धुन गाता सजाता चल, मिल जाएंगे राम। राम नाम का अलख जगाता चल, मिल जाएंगे राम। राम धुन गाता चल, 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 राम धुन गाता चल।
राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम, 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 राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम।
अमर है राम भरत का प्यार, अमर है राम भरत का प्यार। राम भरत की गाथा होगी जब तक है संसार। अमर है राम भरत का प्यार, अमर है राम भरत का प्यार। सुना भरत ने हुआ राम को जैसे ही वनवास। ॐ सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Okay, so today is question and answer on the karma course. And our first question is from Narendra Singh Negi. How do animals get prarabdha without sanchita? How do animals get prarabdha without sanchita?
Can I speak, madam?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
The human being is having a sanchita vasana, so he is likely to get out of that sanchita, the prarabdha vasana. But the animals are moving from one prarabdha vasana to another prarabdha vasana. From where do they get sanchita vasana?
Okay, so you need not explain your question unless an explanation is asked for. You very clearly written a question, very nice. How do animals get prarabdha without sanchita?
The reason I'm thinking is not because the question is not clear, but I don't know where to start the answer from. Because this is not, I don't know where you got the notion that animals don't have sanchita. Animals and humans are just another form of animal, right? So exactly the same thing is happening with them as with us in 99% of things. So
No, but the human being,
they have
human
sanchita,
being
we have
has,
sanchita.
human being has a free will.
So that's why I said
He's likely
99%.
he's
Once I
likely
don't
to
go
get up.
somewhere else, just focus on one question. Okay, so
Okay.
how do animals get prarabdha without sanchita? Animals have sanchita vasanas. And use the correct terminology, otherwise it gets confusing later on. I can see your next question that is there. So,
Yeah.
sanchita vasanas are held by every being, whether they are humans or animals. The only difference between humans and animals is that uh, the animals have no contact, no conscious contact with their sanchita, but humans have. That's the only difference. So, how do animals get prarabdha without sanchita? Uh, Animals don't get prarabdha without sanchita. If you don't have sanchita means total. So, if you don't
Yeah.
have a total, where will you get a subtotal from? So,
Yes.
of course, they have sanchita vasanas, just as we have them, except they don't have contact with them like we have. Like they have to function only on their prarabdha vasanas. When their prarabdha vasanas are over, they die, and whatever next lot of vasanas are ready for fructification will become the next embodiment for that animal. So, how do animals get prarabdha without sanchita? They don't. You have to have sanchita vasanas to have prarabdha vasanas to get them in the first place. Okay, is that clear?
It's clear, but the question is how do they get? Because since they're moving from one prarabdha to another prarabdha,
Same
one
way as we
animal form to another form.
whenever,
Have they taken human form before getting into animal form?
yes, obviously. Otherwise,
Means,
how will they get a small amount? Okay, let's go back to definitions.
yeah,
Sanchita vasanas means total vasanas that has been created by that individuality. All right.
yeah.
Now, based on whatever is most required for immediate manifestation, okay, like
I got that.
it's like a fruit that is ready, ripened, and it falls. So
Yes.
that becomes your prarabdha vasanas. But they have to
Right.
always come from sanchita vasanas.
Right.
Now, once this fruit has fallen, another one is being prepared. Means another vasana, whatever, whichever is the next strongest one, will be the next prarabdha, just like for us. It's no different. It's the same principle for all animals, including humans. With only one difference that we have connection with sanchita, which animals don't have.
No, I got that, ma'am. That this one. But thing is that evolution is from the animal being one animal to another animal and slowly comes to human being. Now they are moving from one Pranavasana to another Pranavasana to another Pranavasana. Is there any programming for that? Because they don't have, they, in the very beginning, they cannot have a Sanchita or what?
No, that's not how it works. That is how Darwin said it. That we come from the amoeba to the whatever multicellular. That's the
Even Vedanta, you say
physical.
plant, animal, human life is described, according to Vedanta, human life, we describe life as plant, animal, human being. The plant is the lowest, animal is the middle, human being is the last one that we are seeing.
Yeah,
So
one sec. Let's go
the
step by
movement,
step now. Let's go step by step.
uh,
Your first question was, how did they get the Sanchita already?
how there is because according to me, we are supposed to get Sanchita only if we have a free choice.
Correct.
Free choice.
Correct.
Since we don't, since an animal doesn't have a free choice, he only born with a prarabdha.
Correct.
It will exhaust his prarabdha. and then he goes back to the next animal form because he's not yet come to the human form.
All right, so
From
far.
where is he getting that? Question
That's
is,
what I'm trying to answer, but you're not allowing me. Okay,
yeah,
you
okay,
finish whatever you're saying, then I will start. Have you
yeah,
finished?
okay.
Right.
I finished.
All right. So when you are talking about first you become an amoeba, then you become multicellular, then you become a chimpanzee, then you become a human. This is Darwinism. This is a theory of evolution. That is not what Vedanta is saying. Vedanta is saying that there is the self. When you become ignorant of the self, for whatever reason, nobody knows that, you have vasanas. These vasanas multiply. So when you are talking about it from a Vedantic perspective, there is no such thing of evolution from amoeba to this and that. That is how the physical body comes about. That's not how vasanas come about. Vasanas is ignorance of the self. Now, depending on what kind of vasanas you cultivate, the individuality cultivates over a period of time, manifestations take place. So everybody thinks that because evolution says ki, the yonis go for like this, therefore Vedanta is saying it. Vedanta is not saying that. Vedanta is saying there are millions of yonis. You are lucky to be born a human. It is not saying you have to go through all those yonis to be born a human. This concept doesn't exist. It is just
Right.
saying that there are so many possible life forms, but you're lucky you're born a human. Why are you lucky you're born a human? Because you're born you get access to Purushartha. In every other yoni, you don't get it. So you're born lucky that you're born a human. Right? So where did they get their Sanchita from? However they collected it, similarly, however we collected it. But we had some vasanas because of which we were born human, and therefore we get all the advantages of being human. Okay?
Right.
Why would we say we are born lucky? Because isn't it our own desires and actions that bring us to this yoni also?
Yes, but I mean, did you consciously choose it? You fortunately did certain actions by which you got born a human being, and that's amazing. That's wonderful. If you don't want to use
So
the
then
word
that's the
lucky, say you're
cause and
fortunate.
so that means there is a cause and an effect, but then where is the luck factor come then?
There's no lucky like that. What it means is be happy that you're born, uh, human. Understand you're blessed at stage 1, because we are all the time grumbling, ये नहीं है, वो नहीं है. अरे, but you're human, वही तो बड़ी बात है.
So in other words, we are fortunate that for whichever reason we did the right actions and therefore we took this yoni.
Yes, and that the laws worked. Don't forget that.
The law worked, yeah, law of
Yeah,
karma.
law worked, no? The law works, and to that we pay our gratitude. Suppose the law doesn't work. Suppose you live in a country where you're very honest, you're very truthful, you're very good, but the bad people are doing well. So you can't take all the onus on yourself. You say, thank God, somehow I did right action, and somehow the law also worked in. So therefore, I'm grateful for it. But it's possible, no, that the laws don't work. One day they went to sleep. Though you did something nice, they did not take cognizance. But that never happens. It never happens that, like we say, thank God there's oxygen. Because it never happens that oxygen says, "Acha, ab bahut kaam hua, ab main ghar ja raha hu." Never says that. The law is working. So to that we say thank you. Right? So how do animals get prarabdha without sanchita? Animals have sanchita, so the question doesn't arise. Then second question, I suppose willpower is different from free will. That's correct. Willpower refers to controlling power of intellect. That is correct. I suppose prarabdha vasanas is different from prarabdha. That also is correct. Prarabdha is the resultant force. Prarabdha is the resultant force. Yeah, prarabdha is the resultant force, often known by the word destiny. The translation of the word prarabdha into English is destiny, and it refers to your current vasanas, like at this moment, whatever you have. That is your prarabdha. Prarabdha vasanas are defined as those vasanas which can be exhausted only through experience and not through knowledge. So there are two different things. I'm glad you brought this point up. I hope everybody in the class is aware of this. There are two separate things. There is prarabdha, translated as destiny, and prarabdha vasanas, translated as nothing, but defined as those vasanas which can only be exhausted through experience. Knowledge cannot affect those vasanas. Vasanas such as you're born a man or a woman. Through knowledge, you cannot change this. Or you're born Indian or American. Through knowledge, you cannot change this. So prarabdha vasanas, or the color of your skin, it's a prarabdha vasana. You can't change it. So prarabdha vasanas are those vasanas which can not be removed through knowledge, but require experience. When prarabdha vasanas gets over, a person dies. Because his embodiment is for the purpose of finishing those particular prarabdha vasanas. All right, so yes, you're right. I suppose prarabdha vasana is different from prarabdha. Correct. Prarabdha vasanas are those vasanas which are exhausted only through experience. Prarabdha is destiny. Great. Okay, then Milind. No sanchita, no birth.
Correct.
That may or may not be possible, because hypothetically you can imagine that a person's entire sanchita becomes their prarabdha. Hypothetically, you can say that. Very difficult, of course. So you can take the stance you're taking. But hypothetically, you can also say, well, suppose your entire sanchita for some reason became prarabdha. You died with only 5 vasanas, and those 5 vasanas became prarabdha, and that's a possibility. So from a layman's sense, you can say that, but if you want to be perfectly correct, we won't say that. Tinky, Purushartha is embedded in action, not a conscious choice. Don't know if an action comes from Purushartha or Vasana, as it is a combo of both. Then how does one choose an action using free will? I think this has not been clear through the entire thing. Firstly, every thought you get in your head is a combination of Purushartha and Vasanas. You know anything through your intellect. Your intellect is already a combination. By the time anything comes to the intellect, there's already a combination. So there's no way you can know. How can something gross know something subtle? It can't be done. However, the fact that you are choosing is yours. You are making that choice. Purushartha is not some independent entity that is doing something to you. It is you yourself choosing something, whatever it is. And sometimes you need to struggle so that that choice comes across. And sometimes you don't need to struggle for that choice to come across. But it is you yourself choosing. How does one choose an action using free will? You choose an action using your intellect. That is the theory, which we are staying with. But the whole question of Purushartha arises because how will your intellect tell you anything apart from what your vasanas tell you? Your intellect is a product of vasanas, no? So therefore you become bound even when you're using your intellect. So therefore you have an independent entity in you which allows you to make any choice, whatever choice you want, separate from your vasanas. So you don't choose an action using free will, you choose an action using intellect. That is all you know. And nothing else you can know. Remember, the whole theory is a theoretical construct. Because if you say only vasanas function, There is no way you can ever do anything different in your life. But you know for sure that you can do a different thing. Human beings have done it. Therefore, there has to be another element. It's a theoretical explanation. What you have to do is still the same. Use your intellect. That has not changed. I hope this is clear to the class because we have done this 1,000,000 times. Theory of karma is a theoretical law of karma is a theoretical construct to explain why you can choose. You will continue to do the same as you've done before. You're not now going to use free will to choose. You're still going to use your intellect. That has not changed. That's clear because I said this about 1,000,000 times, so I hope that's clear. And if it's not clear, then wait a bit. After some time, it will become clear. Then, Deepraj, why is it called law of karma and not theory of karma when we cannot establish cause and effect in 100% of cases? It is called law of karma and not theory of karma because you can establish it in 99% of cases. You cannot see, for instance, you say elephant has a trunk. Can you make the statement all elephants have trunks? You can't make that statement all elephants have trunks. Gunjan, can you make that statement all elephants have trunks?
Yes,
Yes, right?
yes.
Have you seen every elephant?
No, not sure.
You've not seen every elephant, yet you know that every elephant has a trunk. How do you know this? It's called generalization, where you take a few samples and based on that sample, you project for them all. Based on that, all laws are created, not just this law. It's the same law for everything. How do you know? Have you tested every drop of water? Then how do you know that every drop of water is H2O? It is called the law of generalization. And based on the law of generalization, all laws are made.
No, but in the H2 example, that's by definition. That's not generalization. And in
By
the
definition. What do you mean?
yeah, that's how
By
water is defined. All H2O compounds are defined as water.
then how did you do that? Because it's not that you made water. Water already exists.
Yes,
You determine what is its compound, what is its
yes, yeah.
chemical
And
formula.
then you define it based on that.
Right, same thing
Yeah,
here.
correct. Yeah, but the thing is, this generalization can also lead to sampling bias. Say, for example, if people take Indian elephants and Indian elephants have a particular anatomy, and then they hear about an elephant from Africa. Now they will think about the elephant in Africa with the
Okay,
elephant.
I get your example. That's why I use trunks and not ears. It's clear. But the point is that this is how you, if that animal didn't have a trunk, you wouldn't even call it an elephant.
Yeah, so you again you do the definition thing. You say mm, things with which has this particular anatomy will decide to call elephants, and so then you categorize it.
Yes. And then you say ears don't are not critical to it. So same thing.
Yes,
All laws are made in exactly the same thing. So the size is critical to an elephant, like the anteater also has a trunk of some sort, but that doesn't make it an elephant. So you decide what are critical elements and what are not critical elements. So
but with
it's exactly the same.
but
Your first point is why is it called law and not theory? Why is it called law and not theory? Because it's made like any law and it can be proved like any law.
can it be falsified?
Why not? Suppose I put my hand in the fire and the fire doesn't burn my hand, it will be falsified.
But that is for a particular causal effect. That's a particular cause and effect relation.
Correct.
But we cannot establish it for all cause and effect relations.
Yes, but you can establish that there is cause and effect. Then from that, you can establish that just as there's cause and effect for the world, there has to be for the individual. So you start making laws. So karma is not a law, it's a bundle of laws. So you can take anyone and falsify. For instance, you can say a selfishness creates agitation. So you can say here's a selfish person and he's not agitated. Then you have an explanation of why he's not agitated, or you falsify it. Of course, you can do it's the same thing with this. For instance, you say this is the law of gravity that object is attracted to the center of Earth at 32 feet per second square. Okay, this feather is flying. Have you falsified gravity? No, you found another. Same, it works in exactly
Okay,
the
so
same way.
there is a bunch of cause and effect relationships, physical laws as well as mental laws, and we group all of them together under the same umbrella called laws of cause and effect.
Okay,
Now the claim there is that there always is a cause for every effect.
correct.
That's the claim.
That's it.
So if we can find an effect for which that there is no cause, then we can falsify it.
Yes. But that is only for law of causation. For karma, you'll have to take each law separately.
Yes, that is only that there exists that law of causation. But for karma, it's okay.
Yeah, each
Thank you.
one individual.
Thank you.
But how can you find an effect without a cause? Vipraj, you said you can find an effect without a
It's
cause.
called falsification, Tinky. It's a law of logic that how do you know a law is true? There are two ways. You can either prove it is true by showing that it is so, or you could prove it is false by showing that this happened even once and therefore this is not true.
And there was no
So,
cause.
yeah. So he's saying, so one of the tests of whether something is true or not is falsification. Like suppose I say, every time the sun sets, it grows dark. Suppose I make that claim. Then what is falsification? That one day the sun set, but it still didn't grow dark. So that means by falsification, you can prove that this happens each time. But suppose there was full moon night, therefore I could see. So now that involves another law. So falsification is in logic. Please go back and read How Do You Know What You Know? And the portion on falsification, because if we do falsification now, then we will never do law of karma. So go back and read that.
Thank you.
Prakash's that means who have died have exhausted prarabdha vasana. Yes, that's correct. Uttara. Please explain the difference between prarabdha vasana and prarabdha again. There's confusion. Prarabdha vasana is differentiated from sanchita vasana. Sanchita vasana means total vasanas. These vasanas can be exhausted either by knowledge or through experience. You can either learn that wealth has no joy through knowledge. You analyzed it and understood that there's no real joy there. Or you can earn a lot of money, become Bill Gates, and then find out there's no joy. So you have two ways of getting rid of your sanchita vasanas, knowledge and experience. Okay? There is a very small section of your vasanas, 4-5% maybe, very small, called prarabdha vasanas. These vasanas can only be exhausted through experience, not through knowledge. Such as that you are a woman. Now, how are you going to exhaust this through knowledge? You will exhaust it in the course of your life. You will have womanly vasanas, you will exhaust it through that manner. Or color of your skin, or for maybe Lata Mangeshkar, it could be singing also. We don't know. We don't know whose prarabdha vasana is what. It could be somebody is a doctor. And that's the prarabdha vasana. I don't know. I'm just giving you things which we understand are fixed. Because otherwise people say, oh, but nowadays if you're a woman, you can become a man. Arey Baba, if you did become a man, then that would not have been your prarabdha vasana. So by definition, prarabdha vasanas are those vasanas which cannot be exhausted through knowledge, but only experience. So that's why you see sages who have exhausted their Sanchita Vasanas also have some, like Ramatirtha. He's realized, but he still does mathematics. Mathematics, assumably, is a Prarabdha Vasana. Or, I don't know, what is his name? Sri Ramana Maharishi. Okay, he's realized, but he doesn't speak. So not speaking must be his Prarabdha Vasanas. Right. So whatever it is that your prarabdha vasanas are, they can only be exhausted through experience. Okay.
So
Prarabdha
Janki,
is prarabdha vasanas clear?
may I?
Yes, but only answer my question. Are prarabdha vasanas clear?
No, that was always clear. I was
Wait.
confused between.
Right. Just go step by step. No, why the hurry? Why they be going
Okay.
forward? Just go with it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that
Prarabdha
was clear.
vasanas clear. Now let's come to prarabdha. Prarabdha is another word for destiny or vasanas. Any vasana is a prarabdha only. All your vasanas which you have with you today are your prarabdha, are your destiny. This moment is your destiny or your prarabdha.
No, but because when you gave the example that you are born with this color or this, so that is destiny as well as prarabdha vasana. So where is the distinction?
Prarabdha is all vasanas, no? Prarabdha,
Acha, prarabdha means all vasanas.
whatever at this moment is your vasana.
Okay, so the prarabdha also includes sanchita vasana then?
Of course.
Acha, that's the difference. Okay, I always thought that prarabdha is the destiny. So whatever you're born with and whatever you have to experience, that is your destiny anyways, because it's the resultant force. So then, okay, let me
Basically, you're
think it
saying,
over. I'm
yeah.
still confused. Yeah, let me think it over.
But go by definition, write it down. What is the definition of prarabdha vasana? What is the definition of prarabdha? Write it down. What is the definition of prarabdha vasana?
And you need to finish it only through experience.
Not you need to. Prarabdha vasanas are those vasanas that can only be exhausted through experience.
Through experience.
What is the definition of prarabdha?
That is destiny. So whatever you're getting is also destiny.
Prarabdha is vasanas.
Okay, prarabdha is only vasanas. Okay.
So your destiny, when you talk of destiny, you're talking about this moment. Whatever moment it is. This moment, your vasanas is your destiny.
Okay,
People
so
are thinking of destiny as something coming to me and something going from me, and I'm getting married and whatever, all sorts of things. Your vasanas is prarabdha.
so as we see, vasanas is total sum of sanchita and prarabdha, meaning manifested as well as unmanifested. So then, how is that?
Sanchitas is not defined. Too many concepts you're bringing in. Go step by step.
Because vasana, I always feel that it is a total sum of manifested as well as
But
unmanifested.
it's irrelevant in this conversation. This conversation is vasana. Don't forget total of vasana. You just say vasana.
Okay.
Prarabdha is equal to vasana. Prarabdha vasanas are those vasanas which can be exhausted only through experience. Just
Okay.
stick with that now. And that unmanifested manner. There's so many things you bring in. That's how confusion comes in. One thing at a time.
Okay. Thank you.
Then Ravi Chabra.
Yes. My question is that a person lives for maybe 25, 30 years, I mean, hypothetically, and he is fulfilling his desires in the period of 30, 40 years, right? In the present environment. Now, it is assumed, if I can say rightly, that the present environment may not be suitable for fulfilling the desires, so the birth take place in a different environment. Right? This assumption is correct. Now, my question is that in the next birth, he lives, let's say, only for 2 years, 3 years, which means the environment was not conducive. Again, he takes birth in a different environment. So the question is how this birth and rebirth take place. Who is responsible? What factors are responsible for making sure that he is living for 30 years, 2 years, and 50 years like that? What is it which makes?
Only his
Is
own
my
desire.
question clear or have I confused you?
Question is clear. Now we'll see whether the answer is clear or not. What decides is only your own vasanas. If you live for 2 years, 6 months, you're born, stillborn, you live for 100 years, everything is determined only by your own vasana. There is no other factor here. It is a matter of cause and effect. Everything is a matter of cause and effect. We keep on thinking that there is some force. There is no force. There is only what you want. As Ramatirtha says, you shall not be trifled with. You are the Lord of the universe. What you want is what is happening. Whether you live for 2 years or 100 or 6 months or you are come out of the womb stillborn, it's just because that is what you want.
No, the question is that the next environment was not suitable.
Says
so
who?
why he took birth?
Says who? Just because I'm in an environment for 2 years, it's not suitable. If I go to Dubai and live for 2 years and then I come back home, Dubai is not suitable to me.
No. What I'm saying is that the next birth takes place because the current environment was not suitable. Am I right? Now, in the next environment, he lives only for 2 years.
Stop. Go slowly. Death takes place because this environment is not suitable. Next birth doesn't take place. This birth ends because this environment is not suitable. Next one you will take because that environment is suitable. Now you have in your mind that if it's suitable, you have to stay there. No, you come to class, right? The class is only one hour. Just because the class is 1 hour and you're not doing it full day, are you going to say it's not suitable for you? That's not so. So similarly, I go to some place, I'm born for 2 years, I die after 2 years. I wanted it only for 2 years. You go to a movie, you see it for 3. You don't say, if that environment is suitable, so I'm going to continue being here. No, your choice. Your choice. You and your mind have made up your mind that if it's a suitable environment, then you should be alive for many years. No, says who? I wanted it only for 2 years, or I wanted it only for a month, or I wanted it for 100 years. All my choice.
Yeah, but the question is who decides the duration? 2 years, 3 years.
Same thing. Your vasanas, your desires. You wanted it for 2 years, so you got it for 2 years. Or 30 years, or 100 years. This is what you wanted. You are designing it every moment. Then who was next? There was somebody, Momita. The law of generalization, is it the same as Anumana? It is not the same as Anumana, but it is part of Anumana. And Anumana is inference. So you can make inference with various ways, one of which is generalization, the opposite of which is you make it specific. For instance, I can say generalization means I have seen 10 elephants. They all have a trunk. So I'm assuming now that all elephants have a trunk. Generalization. And I can make it specific. I have not seen this elephant, but because of specific, making it specific, I can say, even though I've not seen that elephant, this elephant is bound to, even though I've not seen this elephant will have a trunk. Because now I'm taking a general law and applying it to a specific situation. That's what a doctor does, or I don't know. Everybody, they learn the laws, or even in Vedanta. What do? We learn the law and then we apply it to a particular situation. So, Anumana is a whole bunch of ways in which we make inferences. Generalization is one of them.
Yeah, it's the same as the literal difference between a generalization and inference. Because generalization is a part of inference also.
Yes. Generalization is a part of inference, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Then, who was next? In the context of death and rebirth being the transference of subtle and causal bodies from one gross body to another, how can the gross body exist without the subtle and causal bodies in the first place? Isn't there a causal relationship between? Vidushi, I have done everything to avoid these kind of questions in the class because it is it's not within the scope of this topic, but so many people have asked this question. I do not like answering it because now it's opening up another can of worms. So now, what do I say? I'm going to answer it, but I will take no further questions on it because we are going to do it in a subsequent chapter. No further questions. Yes, you are right. There cannot exist a gross body without a subtle and causal body. In our conception of things, a world exists. In this world, we die and then we are born again. This is not Vedanta's conception of things. Vedanta's conception of things is your vasanas project your world. So you are dying is like vasana projection over. Now you are born, vasana projection coming up again. Well, not like we discussed this. I tried to keep away from this topic. That how is your subtle body going around the world trying to locate the appropriate parents? Well, that's not what happens. That's silly to think like that. All these, we all die and then we are floating around saying, "Oh, I like this." Not a buffet to choose parents or something. So we won't go into that because law of karma is difficult. Then this conception that Vedanta has is even more difficult. So we don't want to go there. I'm just answering the question. No further questions on this. We will do it in the next topic. Not next chapter, chapter later. Then who was next? Prakash's iPhone. Prakarda vasanas, no, prarabdha vasanas are called I carried from past births. It can also be called sanchita vasanas. Is it right? No, it's not right. There is a whole bunch of vasanas. They're divided into two types of vasanas. Prarabdha vasanas and sanchita vasanas. Prarabdha vasanas are those vasanas that can only be exhausted through experience and not through knowledge. Sanchita vasanas are all your vasanas. Whether they can be exhausted through knowledge, experience, will be exhausted, will not be exhausted, manifest, not manifest, whole lot together. Any kind of thing, a whole lot. The word sanchita means total. So everything, every distinction you want to make, it all together is sanchita. But prarabdha is only a very small section of those, which can prarabdha vasanas are those vasanas which can only be exhausted through experience. Please, everybody, write it down. You think that keeping all this in your head and it will all work together one day. It won't. Write it down. Otherwise, same thing will come back again and again. Then we have Taran.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, Janvi. Am I audible and visible now?
Yes, both.
Okay. So, Janvi, I was thinking through the whole week, the whole framework, right? And I don't know if I'm thinking more or there should be some correlation or some aspect of intention in the whole framework. Like we talk about vasanas, we talk about thoughts, we talk about desires, we talk about actions, But what about the intention part? Because same action, same thought, same thing. If a soldier kills on the border someone, is it different from a thief killing someone, right? So what? How do we include, or it should not be included in this framework, intention, or what?
Intention is the same as desire or vasana, if you like. Intention is desire. What are you really trying to do? Why is it different that when a soldier kills somebody, we appreciate it, we award him, and a thief kills somebody, we put him in jail?
Yeah.
What's the difference? What does the soldier want? What is his intention? His intention is to protect our nation. What does the thief want? The thief wants to make himself more wealthy by any means whatsoever. So desire and intention is the same.
Now, see, thief maybe have gone for theft because he wants to protect somehow his family. The thought means the circle of thinking of a thief is very smaller than a soldier. That is the only difference.
What I
From
said,
thief's
it's the desire.
perspective, so from the thief's perspective, the intention might be that he wants to procure things for the family. Like his circle is just himself, means he is maybe too individualistic, right? So, but the I think intention cut across all the desires. It is something that gives a platform for all the desires, right?
No,
I can't.
desire and intention is the same thing. What is my desire? To look after my family. That's my intention.
No, then yeah, that intention is cutting across all the desires. That is the
No.
superset of, then it can't be a single, right? Because I'm driven by that intention, right? And because I'm driven by that intention, there can be a set of desires which will come to a soldier, which will not come to a thief.
Same thing it is, desire. Life in Vedanta is very, very simple. You can make all sorts of distinctions, but the fact of the matter is all your intentions are only your desires.
Okay. So, is there, then let me ask this, is there a concept of superset of desires, subset of desires?
I mean, yes, could be or may not be. I mean, that is a matter of individual this thing.
No. It is about not no. It is not about the matter of individual. It is a matter of the framework, because we are talking of a framework which is individual, which is nothing to do with individual. We are talking of framework, prarabdha, vasana, thought. It has nothing to do with individual. All individuals are programmed in that way, right? So, in that framework itself, is there a concept of superset or subset of desires?
Unless you're talking about a goal, then that's a superset. But other than that, what superset? You have a bunch of desires. Those desires are your intentions. So you come to class. So what is your intention in coming to class? Exactly what you desire.
I am coming to the class because my superset of desires is to get that knowledge or something, right? That is underlying all other desires.
Not that may be true for you. Every individual here comes with a certain intention. What is their intention may not be part of a superset of desires.
They will have their own superset, right?
May not.
Everyone, I think everyone will have some fundamental desire on which the tree of desires grows, right? I want to take a moksha, right? So I will follow a bhakti mark. I will maybe join ISKCON. I may be joining.
Don't give so many examples.
Yeah.
I want moksha means you've come to a goal. So the only point where there could be, in your language, superset of desires, where there's a goal that we covered.
Yeah, that goal is then superset the desire.
Yes, but everybody and most people don't have a goal.
That's what we are not talking about individuals. We are talking about the framework.
Right. So that
and an individual can manifest that framework, a part of that framework, or full set of the framework is a different question. But framework has to be independent of
all
individual.
exhausting me today. Wait, listen. All intentions are desires. If at all you wish to have some super framework, you want to use that language, then I'm converting it to the Vedanta thing of goal or idea. That's it. There is nothing else here.
Okay, so in Vedanta, there is no concept of super desire or a tree of desires a root desire means a root desire on which everything grows. There is no such concept.
No, that is Vasna. But you don't have one such, you have multiple such.
Yeah, you can have multiple roots. That is another story.
That is Vasna. Vasna. The roots are Vasanas.
Okay.
The trunk is desire. The whatever. The leaves are action.
Okay. So, okay, we are saying that intention may be translating to the one of the Vasana. Right?
Vasana,
That
desire.
can be
Vasana
desire.
we don't usually use because Vasana is an unmanifest desire.
Both, maybe manifest or unmanifest.
Vasana is defined, unmanifest desire. So therefore, when we are talking, we use the word desire. Because what's the point of talking of Vasana? Vasana is a state of deep sleep. Nothing is happening there. So all intentions is equal to desire.
And okay, so if there is a root is vasanas, right? Then when a vasana translates to a desire, at that layer of desires, there is no concept of super desire, or that desire cannot lead to sub desires.
Of course, it can lead to sub desires.
Yeah.
It can grow into anything.
Correct.
It doesn't have to grow, but it can grow. If you are very careful and if you have a proper goal, your desires will not further and further grow.
Okay, thank you. And one more question came while you were explaining the difference between prarabdha vasanas and other thing, and you mentioned that prarabdha vasanas are those which can be exhausted by experience and knowledge, right? So, what other means can be?
Prarabdha vasanas are those vasanas that can only be exhausted through experience, not knowledge.
Okay, okay, only through experience. Okay, and then rest of the things can be knowledge, huh?
Other sanchita vasanas can be exhausted through knowledge, yes.
And there are only two ways: knowledge or the experience. There is no other way to exhaust any kind of vasana.
No.
Okay, thank you. This helps. Thanks a lot.
The great thing about Vedanta just simplifies everything. There's so much words and so much language and so many ideas, and then when you come to Vedanta, it's just very everything boils down to one simple thing. Sometimes you feel that it's like a great relief, but sometimes no, but it's not answering my question. But it is answering your question. Just pay it some attention. Then what? Who was next? I think Narendra Singh Negi was next, right? Let's see. Wait, what? No, sorry, Tinky. A tamasic person. Okay, a tamasic person.
Janki ji.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you referring to me, Narendra Singh?
One second. I'll just finish with Tinky and I'll come to you. A tamasic person does not do anything, then how will he exhaust his prarabdha vasanas? Tamasic person does not do anything, then how will he exhaust his prarabdha vasanas? Life is not black and white, firstly. A tamasic person is not that he doesn't do anything. He sleeps, no? He gives instructions to other people, ye karo, wo karo, jao, ye leke aao. He's doing something. And if that's his prarabdha vasanas, then that's how he exhausts it. A tamasic person doesn't do anything, then how will he exhaust his prarabdha vasanas? I mean, like a sloth, sloth bear, he sleeps, but he's exhausting his prarabdha vasana. So that is his prarabdha vasana. So if anybody develops very strong vasanas for sleep, they will become a sloth bear. They'll go to sleep. And they'll sleep for many years. Then they'll die, and that will have exhausted their prarabdha vasana for sleep. We have a construct in our head which is human. You have to learn philosophy that human construct has to be removed.
Hari Om, ma'am. But prarabdha is experience, right? So tamasic person, even if you are active, jumping all around, prarabdha is experience. And if I'm dark in color, even if I jump or I sleep, I will be dark throughout my life. So it's only experience, right? You don't have to do anything.
You have
Even
to have to means you will do it. If you need to do it, you'll do it helplessly.
okay, so I understand.
All right. Now, Narendra Singh Negi.
Janki ji, can I?
Go ahead.
Yeah, the prarabdha is the resultant desire. I have a desire A, equally important is desire B, and then comes the resultant as C. That C is also my desire, but not an alien desire, no?
It could be alien also. And it
Suppose
could be
I,
either. Like take an example, no? Then it becomes easier. You have a desire to work very hard and take care of your family. Okay. And then you have a desire to rest because you're working so hard, you're getting not a second, you're running from morning to night. So now you have two equally strong desires. I want to rest, I want to look after my family. So that might bring a situation where you'll end up in hospital. So you had you did not want hospital. It's an alien desire. But why did you land up there? Because that's the only way both of these two can be fulfilled. I want to look after my family, I want to rest. So now how will you rest? You will not be able to. So you are falling ill, then somebody's going to come and take care of you, whatever you're asking for. So it could be alien or it could be the same.
that's
Say,
right.
oh, I hate all this dirt in India. I love milk and I love cheese. You may die in India and be born in Switzerland. So if you ask,
I have desire for India, I have desire for being in Bond, equally important, but I'll land up taking birth in Pakistan.
okay, yes, whatever. Anything. Could be same, it could be alien.
I never wanted to be there, but I am there.
Yes. That's
Possible
what
that way.
everybody is where they don't want to be because they're not understanding how their own desires are clashing.
Another thing, ma'am, you said that there is nothing like theory of evolution, but our Dasavatars which are there, they are explaining the law of evolution, no? The Matsya Avatar, Vara Avatar, all of them, that how the life had started from the sea, then it mud, from the mud it is gone like this. So it is explaining the same as Darwin theory. So
Right.
how do you say that it is
But
not theory of evolution?
yes, true. But all this explanation of the Dasha Avatar came after Darwin. It didn't come before Darwin. This interpretation has come post Darwin, right? So we started looking at it like that. What it actually is referring to is that divinity starts expressing in different ways. You see, in the Gita, there's this thing called the Maheshwara. I remember the first Upadrashta Anumanta cha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara. So the divinity starts getting exposed in an individual at stages. So first they chose like lower stages and higher stages and higher stages, and then you come to Krishna's form, which is Sarvagun Sampanna, like Sola, Kala, whatever it is. So it's showing the growth of divinity in the individual, which when Darwin came out was also interpreted like this. There's no harm in that interpretation. That was also a possibility. They may have been expressing scientific truths also out of that. I don't know. Philosophically, what it means is divinity manifests gradually, and it does different things. And it becomes first it's in a very little form. So this is like sea form, then animal form, then Vamana form, then full form, then able to follow rules, and then finally being able to live beyond rules. So there are various interpretations. We can't take scientific truths out of these ideas, though it is possible that they may have expressed them. We cannot deny it also. But
Swami Ramtirtha spoke about it. Swami Ramtirtha spoke about it, no, in his book God of this Buddha of God realization about the Sarkar's theory of evolution.
So if you look at Ramatirtha, I'll probably talk more about the exposure of divinity slowly, slowly, how it comes out. So, I mean, the classical literature, the nature of classical literature is that so many ways you can approach it, so many ways you can look at it. That's why it's classical, because so much depth. And only 3 minutes left. Vedanta wisdom. If prarabdha vasanas are a subset of sanchita, that is correct. And the exhaustion of sanchita is self-realization, that is also correct. Then how can a self-realized person still have some prarabdha? How can the subset remain when the superset is gone? Why not? The superset, the subset has, you're taking subset as coexistent. We have taken prarabdha as comes out of. It's like saying if the child is alive, how can the father not be there? Of course can be there. Prarabdha vasanas are a subset in the sense that they are a part of this total. Now this total is gone and this is still there. What's the problem? I think it's in the way you're using the term subset that's got you a bit confused in this idea. So of course it can exist. If I say that there are, I don't know, 7 colors in this room currently, and I take out 6 colors, the 7th color is still there. What's the problem with that? Okay, Ganesh Iyer. I have 2 questions. Since free will is independent, is it above the self? No, it cannot be above the self because the self is the subtlest. Free will is subservient, is grosser than the self and therefore under it. Okay. How do we not get by karma? How do we not get bound by karma? Is it being a good actor? Is it by being a good actor in the world? How we don't get bound by karma is by acting for a higher cause in life. So what is the bondage of karma? The bondage of karma is creation of vasanas. When you act for a higher cause in this world, you don't create vasanas and you free yourself of the bondage because the lower vasanas fall away.
Understood, ma'am. Thank you. But just one this thing, this has been covered in the text, right? Because a lot of philosophers, I don't read other philosophers, they say that just be a good actor, come in the stage, do your bow, and then bow back. So we say that act for a higher cause. I think that's the best interpretation, right?
It's not the best. One is a statement, one is a methodology.
Okay.
Be a good actor means what? Being a good actor means work for something beyond your individuality, no? Otherwise, how on earth are you going to be a good actor? So
Absolutely.
one is giving a statement of fact. The other one is giving a methodology. We keep focusing on higher ideals because we are interested in methodologies. Ab sun ke karenge kya? What are we supposed to do? Let us know that.
Understood. So the first one I have to think, because you free will is independent of everything. So I thought it's independent of the self also. But
Independent, you say the whole sentences. I think everybody's making mistakes today because you're not using full sentence. Purushartha is independent of the force of the past, which means, what does it turn out to mean? It means Purushartha is independent of vasanas. Not just independent, it's independent of vasanas. It is a force separate and independent to vasanas. Say the whole sentence. Then there won't be any confusion.
understood. Thank you.
Can the same vasana source in 2 different individuals result in different desires? No, it cannot result in different desires because the root is the same, the seed is the same, tree has to be the same. Okay, so that's it for